Hello, I'm Zetta Thomelin from the UK Confederation of Hypnotherapy Organisations, and I'm here this morning with Maxine Bryce, one of my fellow directors. Hello, Maxine.
Hi Zetta, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's nice to see you and to talk about this interesting subject. So, we're going to be talking today about can hypnotherapy help with insomnia? But I just want to start by defining what that is because it's a word that's bandied around. So we've got sleep onset insomnia, so that's obviously difficulty to attain sleep. Then there's the people who wake in the night and they can't get back to sleep, or they awake very early, so it's called middle of the night awakening. For it to be defined as insomnia, this needs to be happening at least 3 times a week over a period of 3 months and be kind of really impacting on your day-to-day life. And I think if anyone's experienced what that sleeplessness is like, I mean, it does begin to impact on your ability to work or go to school or whatever it is you're doing. So Maxine, I was going to ask you, what sort of things do you think can influence people's ability to sleep? How does this start? What's going on for people?
Oh, that's a great question, Zetta. For me, the most common things I find that influence people's ability to sleep are anxiety,
Yeah,
worry, catastrophizing,
yeah,
and rumination, going over and over things that might happen or have happened.
yeah.
Uh, and most of us don't have a process to bring down that intensity, the emotional intensity. So it just stays there and can virtually inflame itself. And I think hypnotherapy can really help with that.
Yeah, because it's one of our big things, isn't it? Managing anxiety, and I think that's also part of the treatment plan, I guess we could say, is ways to manage that anxiety. Because I think that overthinking, we've all been there, sort of lying there, looking at the clock and thinking, oh gosh, another hour has passed. I think there are some other things. I've come across like work patterns, so people who've done night shifts and then trying to get
Mhm.
into a pattern of sleeping normally again. Um, I have suffered from sleep apnea, and when that first started, I then became a bit afraid to go to sleep because you were worried about what was going
Mhm.
to happen. So you need to process and manage those fears and concerns. Certain medical conditions, I think, can impact on.
Absolutely, yeah. So, um, great points. And because insomnia for me is often a symptom of a deeper issue.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
example, something that's happened,
yeah,
such as a redundancy, suddenly, a divorce, loss of home or safety,
yeah,
or a fear of something that's coming up. It could be an imminent operation or an interview that they're dreading or an exam. And I work a lot with chronic conditions, so there's a tendency here to be worrying about symptoms that are not going,
yeah,
especially when they feel that they've tried everything. So there's a real anxiety there. And worrying about also what you mentioned at the beginning was not being able to get back to sleep once they've woken up, which can become a cycle they can't break. Um, some of the most common examples I see are money,
yeah,
loss of
yeah,
job, fear
yeah.
of losing their job and home, and all the aspects that attach to that, which I think relates to safety
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
as well. Of course, with safety, we can think about relationship instability,
yeah,
um, things that might knock us off balance, things that we might lose.
yeah,
Um, I have worked with people who've had a fear of death, either their own or someone close to them.
yeah, yeah.
Um, caring patterns. I recently lost my mum, and I know that my patterns were
Yeah.
out of balance because I was constantly getting phone calls from in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So then I started to anticipate phone calls in
Yes.
the middle of the night. So it was really quite a challenge. Other patterns can be work. shifts, imbalances that change our own internal body clock. Jet lag, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, jet lag, yeah. I used to work alongside a physiologist who designed long haul sleep patterns for flight crew,
Oh,
and
that's
they were designed every 4 hours,
mm,
because apparently we have a 4 hour sleep cycle instead of the eight that
yeah,
we're taught that in the modern age, when we have electricity and it's dark for 8 hours, then in the Western world, then that's when we're supposed to sleep. But actually, our biological clock isn't quite like that. So,
that's part of the difficulty, I think, for people, isn't it? Because I think
yeah,
some people are more in tune with that kind of primal sleep pattern, which is to sleep for a while and then wake. And then
yeah,
go back to
uh,
sleep again. If we think of the animal kingdom, that it's just not normal to expect to sleep for 8 solid hours, and we're trying to override our natural system some of the time, I think.
yes. And then we believe that it's something's wrong if we
Yeah,
don't do that.
yeah.
Uh, so it's quite normal to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, come back, and relax into sleep again. Um, yeah. So
But
perhaps
learning to
those,
trust that pattern, isn't it, as well,
yeah,
and not
yeah,
making it a big thing. I think one of the things that most people who've struggled with sleep, and I think, gosh, most people have at some time, that feeling of looking at the clock and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get back to sleep. And you go over and over and you look and oh, another half an hour, another hour's passed.
oh yes,
The more
and
you
yeah,
clock watch, the worse it becomes and the harder you're trying to sleep. And it's that moment, maybe when you look at your clock and there's only an hour left to go and you go, oh, well, there's no point me trying anymore. I'm not going to try to sleep. That's when you fall asleep because
absolutely, yeah.
it kind of works with that law of reverse effect. The harder you try to do something, more difficult it becomes. And I try and work with that with clients to get them to understand what they're doing there.
And
Um,
that's excellent. And when we do explain we are able to explain what's actually happening instead of what clients believe should be happening. It can give a sense of relief
yes, yeah,
when they understand something. It's actually not a should, it's not a scientific fact.
yeah, yeah.
It's the beliefs that which feel like facts, don't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. So then clients can start to relax into doing what they want to do and get back to sleep easily and naturally.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things that crossed my mind thinking about getting to sleep easily, um, some people use alcohol or drugs to get to sleep,
Yeah, yeah,
which I think a bit like smoking when a lot of people say, well, that helps me relax, but
yeah,
actually stimulant.
yeah,
All of them are
yeah,
stimulants. So their bodies are doing a great job in spite of what we're putting in them.
yeah,
With all the chemicals that would stimulate your system. Um, you've mentioned your own sleep apnea. And I would say, anyone who's having that needs to be guided by
you
the doctors,
proper,
the
proper help.
medical
Yeah,
doctors,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Have we talked about pain, physical pain?
Yeah, pain, that you're right. We have it, and that can be a really significant thing, can't it? Because
Yeah.
without distractions, the pain becomes bigger and more dominant, more aware of it, I think.
Yes. I had a frozen shoulder. I'm just coming out of it now. I'm in my second year of it now. But the first phase was, it felt like every 2 minutes tossing and turning to try to get comfortable because of the pain.
Mm.
And I had to use some of my own techniques
Yeah,
to
yeah.
really get back
Sometimes,
on.
sometimes it's physician heal thyself, isn't it? We've got all these tools in our kit, and I think, as you've just said a few moments ago, helping people understand sleep, what's going on, and really the science of it can help
Mhm.
people to help to manage their own sleep patterns and issues, what's actually going on there. So what sort of things do you use with people to help them sleep, Maxine? What sort of things are you working with?
Well, I tend to start when I look at what's happening. I always start with what might be at the root of the
Yeah,
insomnia.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, for example, their biggest worry, apart from not being able to sleep, and address that with hypnotherapy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, if they don't know what their biggest worry is and what might be keeping them up at night, because I think sometimes you can lose that or forget about that, and then the fear of not getting to sleep
Takes
becomes
time.
the biggest
Yeah,
issue,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Even if the what kept them up at night is over
yeah,
and
yeah,
done with, it's actually become a cycle, and
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So um, I will work with their fear of not being able to sleep.
yeah,
So if they're waking up in the middle of the night and not getting back to sleep like they should, I'll explain what we talked about
yeah,
earlier about the sleep cycles. I tend to use, um, and I'll give them some self-hypnosis
yeah.
techniques
And
to
it's
use.
really useful for more than anything, I think, sleep.
Yeah,
It's brilliant for sleep, isn't it? Yeah.
absolutely, yes. Um, and that's, I mean, apart from the practical things, do you want me to talk about the practical
Yeah, oh,
things?
and strategies.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
What strategies can we bring in?
Strategies,
Yeah.
yes.
Strategies.
And it's quite common it, out there, stopping anything to do with computer, phone screen, mobile phone screen, iPad, any screen use at least 30 minutes before bed, an hour if possible. Um, Even reading a book, a paper book, if people still have paper books.
Yeah,
Um, and one of the things that helps me and my clients is to make a list, a written list of things to do tomorrow,
yeah,
handwritten list, so you can just switch off and not have to think about anything because it's already there for you to
yeah.
do
It's
the
prepared.
next day.
And
You're
by
not thinking,
writing it, you've given it away and we put it away, haven't you, by writing it down in a way?
yes, and yes, it's a physical task. And I would say don't write any more than three or four things down
Mm.
because then you can start getting overwhelmed,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
overwhelmed, um, which can cause the anxiety.
yeah.
Um, so um, ideally get ready for bed, an hour or half an hour at the very least. So getting dressed into your pajamas or whatever you wear for bed. Brush your teeth at least 30 minutes. I learned this from
Mm.
the same physiologist who
Yeah,
designed the long haul patterns because that involves action, as does going upstairs if
yeah,
you have stairs in your home. So anything that's action based, reduce to a minimum,
mm.
um, because that will trigger your autonomic
Yeah,
nervous system
yeah,
and
yeah.
needs to be able to bring that more in balance.
Mm.
And to get more in balance, I give my clients a breathing exercise called balanced breathing,
Mhm.
which is simply breathing in normally for a count of four, for their count of four,
Yeah.
and out equally for a count of four, which balances the autonomic nervous system.
Mm.
And the intention of putting your focused attention on the counting means you can't be thinking about anything else.
Yeah, we need to distract from that overactive ruminating mind, don't we? And so any task we can give that's a
Yeah.
fixed task is a way of moving that mind away from that and moving the mind away from I must get to sleep. I think getting into bed, I've got to get to sleep, got to get to sleep. It's really not helping. But no, I this is what I need to.
Yes. Because when we have that worrying thoughts, we're thinking very quickly, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. And you're speeding up the brainwaves rather than
Uh,
slowing them down, which is
yeah.
what we need to do. Yeah.
So, do you have techniques that we haven't?
I use breathing techniques as well to help. what wind down. Also, of course, peptides are released from the brain when we do those kind of breathing exercises, which is all helping, isn't it? I think having good nocturnal routines, as you were saying, is really important, and not having a lot of electric devices near or around the bed, I think can emanate. Some people are very sensitive to electrical waves
Hmm.
near them, which can be stimulating. So it's thinking about those things, isn't it? I think something I personally did was invested in an old-fashioned alarm clock. So I wasn't using my phone as my alarm, so that I didn't have my phone by my bed, and that it wasn't sort of something I would, if I couldn't sleep, oh, I'm going to go back, pick up my phone again. You need those sorts of things away from you so that you're not being distracted by thoughts. Oh, I'll just check if that email came through or if that message. You just want those things out of your space, so you have kind of a clean sleep space, I guess, it isn't without
Hmm. Yeah,
distractions,
absolutely.
things.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that help.
Because there is a temptation if someone is awake is and not being able to get back to sleep is just to have a look at your screens
Yeah, which is of
and
course
then it's
counterintuitive.
counterproductive.
Yeah, because of course the light is sending a message to the brain that, oh, this is awake
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's yeah. So you need the right sort of routines, I think, and yeah, techniques to use in bed, like breathing exercises, or I often use like a positive resource state, getting someone to think about a memory that makes them happy, or something they enjoy, or a place they like the thought of. One specific thing that I do is called creating a sleep trigger. Um, this is because your unconscious is waiting for that signal to take over. Because if it weren't, we'd be falling asleep walking down the road. If our mind is hyperactive, then it's not getting that signal, that trigger that it's time to take over. So I will in trance describe a particular scene. I've got two main ones I use. So one is they're on a beach and they're watching the sunset, and because that's tied in with sleep and bedtime and all that sort of thing. Or they're in a garden, they're watching a leaf fall down from a tree. And I will describe this and I'll say, when you get into bed at night, you visualize this exercise. And it is the trigger, the signal that your brain needs to know, this is time to go to sleep. So, and I think by giving them the suggestion that this is what will take them to sleep, and them that focus, so when they get into bed they're not thinking about that appointment they've got the next day, they're doing their sleep trigger, yeah, thinking about the sun setting or the leaf coming down, really making that scene clear. It's a double thing. You're relaxing the mind anyway because it's going somewhere relaxing, you're giving them something to do to distract them, and you've sown the positive suggestion that just doing this is going to take them to sleep.
Well,
um,
that worked for me. I could curl up right now.
So I find that really useful, and I tend to do that on a first session to give them a sense of taking control of this ability to sleep, because you feel so powerless in that lying awake time, don't you? And it's giving us a no. If I do this, this is me taking control. In the same as your breathing exercise, you're taking control in that moment, or some self-hypnosis just before sleep. We're taking control of that moment. But all of these are addressing the sleep itself. But as you say, we need to look at what's going on in someone's life that has created this. I think just popped into my mind something else I also notice when I talk to people about sleep is that in some families, sleep is a big issue. So the first thing they would say, how did you sleep last night? Did you sleep? Oh, I had a bad night. Did you have another bad night? And it becomes such a big thing that has to be achieved. And this is a pattern that often runs in families. Of course, bad sleep can be something you learn within a family as well. So we need to unlearn that. Um, and I guess giving people this um, awareness that you'll survive if you don't sleep. I mean, if we accept that we'll survive, and okay, you've gone to work on 3 hours sleep or 4 hours sleep before, so you'll survive this. If we take the power out of it and it stops being this big thing, I've got to get to sleep,
Yeah.
then people sleep. It's that harder you try, the more difficult it becomes thing. So it's also trying to get this place of acceptance around sleep. Well, sometimes might nights might not be so good as others, but you're going to survive that. So we don't need to make it such a big dominating factor.
At the mercy of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It sort of it becomes so vast and powerful, doesn't it, for people who are struggling with it. And as you said earlier, then it becomes a cycle. At the moment can pass, the thing can pass, but they're caught in that cycle of getting so stressed about sleep. It's become the dominant thing in their life. It dominates. Am I going to sleep tonight? Have you slept last night? And you just get caught
What
up.
if, yeah, what if I don't sleep
Yeah,
tonight?
yeah, yeah. How will I get through the day? Well, actually, you will get through it. You have before, and you will, you know. Um, and you think of some jobs where people have to function at high capacity, no matter how tired they are. It's amazing what we can do. Obviously, we won't be at our best, but we will get through it. Though good sleep obviously is really helpful for processing and releasing things and being able to face
Oh,
the next day. I know we've all had that experience of something feeling really bad on a day, like I don't know, you might have made a fool of yourself in a meeting or something. But the next day it doesn't feel as dominant because as you've slept, you've processed some of it and it just doesn't stay at that same intensity. Um, because that sleep helps you process it.
one thing I've just remembered that I encourage my clients to do is if they can nap during the day, take one.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it will help no more than 30 minutes.
yeah,
I think the science is 20 to 30 minutes, and you get what some people call a power nap
yeah, yeah.
or disco nap. But if they can do that, and some people worry that they might oversleep, so they could set
But,
their
yeah,
alarm for 30 minutes
yeah,
and just, even if it's like that alpha state where it's sort of you're almost drifting off, but
yeah,
not quite
yeah,
fully
yeah,
sleep into beta. Um, that is very restorative in
yeah,
terms of energy
yeah,
levels
yeah, yeah.
and good for our mind. And that tends to help regulate so and prepare us for later on.
And is more natural to the human condition.
It,
Yeah,
yes.
it's not, as we've said, meant to be this block of sleep at night, to have a bit of a nap during the day. Yes, it's not a bad thing. I do try to plan my working day
Do
a
I?
little bit of and around 3 o'clock, because I'm very aware with myself,
Yeah.
around 3 o'clock is when I begin to dip.
Yeah.
So if I can have a bit of a rest before that or at that time, I'm more able to deal with it because you feel your energy levels come and go.
Yeah, and then you can't be the best for your client if you're struggling
Yeah,
and well, through a natural rest time.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, um, you, we're not doing the best with our own work. So if yes, building in time during your day will really help. Yeah,
I think employers would get more out of their staff if they
they
gave
do.
them
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bit of a rest time in the afternoon instead of this push, push, push through the day.
Years ago, when I was working in the corporate sector as a performance coach, we introduced this concept, and a couple of huge organizations in the UK um, had a room or two rooms made into a zone for
Yeah,
rest.
yeah,
And if someone made it quite clear to their employees that if you feel like you need to go and take a nap,
mm,
take one.
yeah,
And they had comfy chairs, they had earphones with meditations on them,
yeah.
and it was acceptable. In fact, encouraged it
Yeah.
morning and afternoon if they
It
wanted to take a
does, you get more people
20-minute
working
break.
with people.
Well, they did.
Yeah, yeah.
They did.
Well, it is even a 15-minute meditation or something where you're just bringing your brainwaves down is very, very productive. And I think some people are so keyed up all the time, learning to relax, and sleep is part of our job, is the learning to calm down. And even by um, helping someone go into a trance state, they are, I don't know if you've had this experience, someone says, oh my gosh, just to have relaxed like that and switched off like that. And you think, look, you can do this. You've just done it. So you have the power to slow down. and calm yourself down. So just the very process of having hypnotherapy, I think, is helping to retrain the mind into calming and slowing down. So I think that there's just so much we can do. And as you say, it's working with what's going on behind the sleep issue as well as the sleep issue itself. Very exciting. And I love working with it because it's such a tangible thing when you get that message. And yes, I slept last night. Hooray. And now you've proved you can do it. So now we're building on that success and the evidence you've created for yourself. So, well,
That's
thank you
right.
for talking to me today about insomnia, Maxine. And I look forward to talking to you again about another topic. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.